All right, man. I tell you what, I was listening to that music. I felt like I should be riding a camel across the desert with a AK slung over my back. Like, I don't think Lawrence of Arabia had the access to AKs, but I think he was more of an Enfield guy. Was it more of an Enfield guy?
Probably more of an infield guy.
Yeah, that's what
Webley?
I think he was a backfield guy.
I guess Webley, no?
Webley, I should have known to throw that question out there. All right, hey, welcome everyone to the 12th annual. Yes, indeed, the 12th annual Hug Your AK Day. Somebody asked me today, they're like, are you still doing that? I'm like, of course. I'm going to keep doing this until there's greeting cards. And once the greeting cards begin, then I can just bow out and it'll just be a self-perpetuating thing. But yeah, there's someday someone's going to say, someone just invented this holiday to sell greeting cards. That's what they're going to say. And I'm going to say, you're right. And that's true. So I'm looking at the Hollywood Squares panel that I've got here. And on the Hollywood Squares panel on the upper left, which would be my upper left, would be stage right, is Brian Keeney from Occam Defense. Say hello, Brian.
Hello, great to be here with y'all. This will be a kick in the pants.
All right. And then on the other side, I guess it didn't have to be the Hollywood Squares thing. It could be the Brady Bunch thing. I've got Marco Vorobiev, a walking encyclopedia of all things AK, and the author of the book AK, The Rise and Fall, the Survival of the World's Most Prolific Rifle. Something like that. I know I butchered it.
I praised anyhow. Appreciate it. Glad to be here. I'm floored that it's been going on for 12 years, and this is my first appearance. But
Look at you!
I'm humbled and honored.
All right, and right below him on the panel, right, and unmute your microphone because I'm about to call on you. Right below him on the Brady Bunch panel is Jeff Kirkham. Jeff is the founder of Ready Man and a wielder of the AK, a proponent of the AK. And well, hey Jeff, this is not your first time. This isn't your first rodeo. You've been with us for a while.
Been with you for a while and happy to be back on with everybody here. Always a fun time.
And then in the center square, is Sonny Pozikas, who was just with us for the radio show just the other day. And again, another Russian turned capitalist turned American businessman and AK aficionado as well. Welcome, Sonny.
Good to be here. Thanks, Paul.
You know, other than my children, I've known your freak self longer than any of the other people since the 90s.
I know. Early 90s. It's
can you believe that?
That's crazy. We're getting old, man.
That's crazy. And then next to him, moving to the left, stage right, is Marty, left hand from Talking Lead, the host of the world famous AK Corner.
That's thanks to you and Marco. Nothing to do with it.
And then below him is Jared. I don't know if Jared's going to say anything, but hello, Jared.
I'll pop in real quick to say hi. Hi, everybody.
All right. Now,
on the back end. So I want to talk a little bit about mastery because you've got a new book coming out that we won't mention the name of, but it talks a lot about mastery, and we've talked a lot about mastery on Student of the Gun. And so in this stream, I'm sitting at the feet of masters of this craft. So I have nothing to add that would make the conversation better. So I'm going to sit here quietly and listen to what they have to say. And that's what I'm going to do. And I'll monitor the comments and make sure that I drop links in for you guys when they're needed. But I'm going to shut my mouth and open my ears.
Well, before you go, though, I got to know what Ruthie was doing today out on the mats with the cage behind her there.
Oh, yeah. I took her to ninja school is what she calls it.
She called it ninja school?
Yeah.
That is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah. I'll tell you about it after.
Okay. But so Ruth is in ninja school, so look out.
You want to go to the gym with me? And she said, are you going to take me to ninja school? I said, absolutely. I'll take you to ninja school.
There you go. There you go. Now, Zach and Jared, if do we have people who, besides us or in the stream, are they asking, you're going to drop in questions for, and if you guys are watching, if you have questions for any of our panel of experts, we'll go ahead and throw them to them one at a time. But we're going to begin with a ding. It's a somber occasion, but it's a celebration of life. Our good friend Zach Hall of Ackless Defense, and he wasn't just of Ackless Defense, but that's where you probably know him from. Was an engineer and a gunsmith extraordinaire, an extremely smart dude. Designed suppressors, and well, today's his birthday. Today would have been Zach's birthday, and we didn't know when we came up with Hug Your AK Day way back when in 2012 that this was going to be on Zach's birthday. It just was a happenstance, and it made sense. Now, you guys remember, I'm going to go in the Wayback Machine. The reason that this started is in 2012, that was a presidential election year. Yes. Remember when Comrade Barry Soetoro was debating? Who was Comrade Barry Soetoro debating? Was he debating that rhino from Utah in 2012? Was it the rhino from Utah?
I think it might have been, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So in 2012, Comrade Barry Soetoro, the communist Muslim, he went into the second debate and he started carping about how no one needed an AK-47. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, snap. That means they've already counted all the votes. Because you don't go on national TV in a general election and talk about gun control unless you've already counted all the votes. And you know that you don't need to worry about offending people because you've already counted the votes and you know you're going to win, so who cares? So I decided that I could not let that stand. And we went into the backyard, and I asked Zachary, I said, Zach, I need you to take a picture of me hugging this AK, and we're going to call this National Hug Your AK Day. And that's how it began. With the infamous, I don't know if it's famous or infamous, could be both, Tiger Woods photo. I was accused of looking like Tiger Woods hugging an AK. You guys, it has become a culture icon. It has become a meme. It is out there in the world. We let it go, and that's where it is. And what's funny is Zach Hall was in a gun shop in Kingman, Arizona, and they had that photo printed up, and it said, "The bad lady is gone now." That was right after Trump won the election in 2016. And Zach snapped a photo of it, and he's like, dude, I'm in a gun shop in Kingman, Arizona, and your mug is on the wall hugging an AK. And I thought, that's the coolest story ever. I can just go ahead and retire now. I don't have to do anything else. But our friend Zach Hall, they told him he had 6 months 3.5 years ago, and he said, fornicate you. And he stuck around for another 3+ years, but finally it got him, and we just lost him. And so what Brian Keeney, I'm going to throw it over to you, Brian. What Brian Keeney is going to do, what he's done is he's come up with a way that for us to raise a little bit of money for his widow and his little baby boy, and that will be a rifle raffle, which Brian is going to tell us about right now.
Yeah, so we're not building a ton of guns right now. We did the same thing for our dear friend James when he was sick, and I had hoped to do it before Zach's passing, and unfortunately got injured, and so we've had to delay it a little bit. We're doing our top-of-the-line rifle, all the bells and whistles. I'll be hand building it end to end, stem to stern, and just to rattle off what all that entails. It's one of our 14.5-inch barrels in 7.62. We've got a proprietary method of cryo fitting the muzzle device on with liquid nitrogen that results in a really good suppressor alignment. It's a 4-prong flash hider that takes the key mount systems that pretty much gets you to anything with a hub, any can that has a hub interface on the back, including dead air stuff. One of our Merc handguards that dramatically accurizes the gun and has good thermal handling. one of our new adjustable gas blocks. It's the bee's knees. It just works and is great for adjusting the gas on cold days, hot days, whether you got a can, whether you don't got a can. With an AK, it really matters. And this is a way of adjusting that without reducing the reliability of your gun. It's rock solid. Something a little more fun that we put on there, but is still really cool, is our fat bottom mag catch. It's a billet mag catch as opposed to the sheet metal, and that allows us to get, it actually looks like a fat bottom. It's not a huge mag catch that'll get stuck on stuff, but it gives you just a little extra meat to push on when you're doing a mag change. If you're doing your dry practice, like the fine proponents of the martial craft of AK handling all say on here, then your thumb will eventually get sore. If you're doing 15, 20 minutes of dry practice, your thumb feels it at the end, not with the fat bottom. It's nice and it hugs you back. Childers receiver, because they're awesome and the best we can find. WBP, new manufacturer parts that are all forged. They work great. Our 1913 rear trunnion, that's also billet. It's bomb proof. It lets you with one screw put any kind of stock you want on there, including a folder or fixed. You can put an AR-15 stock on there if that's your thing. Our enhanced
if
safety,
that's your thing, we need to have a conversation.
I was gonna try
offline.
And we're getting money for Zach here, so you know we're
okay.
We're
but if their thing is putting an AR stock onto that, we might have to have a talk. Now, if they're but I'm just saying this.
Yep, I dig that. So we have an enhanced safety we make that Sonny will find minimally offensive. He's still giving me the frowny face right now, and I can appreciate that. But we have just a tiny little nub that goes on there that, if that's your thing, is great. And if you're changing mags, you will not bump it off. So that's pretty cool. And also our side folding 1913 stock that is billet and is modeled after the side folder, but it is sculpted in the rear so that it doesn't leave you with a waffle pattern in your shoulder at the end of the day. And we top it all off with our PH2 peep sights. These are the second gen, and we figured out a way to get AR-15 front posts on there so that if you want to swap in a tritium front sight, or you like a ghost ring up front, which is kind of a precision hotness right now, you can do any of that really easily. On top of that, so that gun normally goes out our door. IR blocking, top of the shelf or top shelf Cerakote black on that. Jeff Kirkham, actually Sonny too. All of my former special operations guys, I ask them what kind of fancy color they want, and they're like black. And so I've finally gotten around to that where it's like you can have any color you want so long as it's black. So this is black IR blocking Cerakote. Some of the alumni at Tactical Response kicked in an over-the-top accessory package for it. There's a Blue Force Gear Vickers AK sling, a left-hand 4-mag stacked micro rig that also has a tear-off med pouch on it that's super cool, a cloud defensive weapon light and bonus hand light, Arms 31 low mount for throwing an aim point, that kind of style deal on there. That gets you, generally speaking, to a 40 to 50% co-witness with our PH2s, and 2 Bulgarian Circle 10 waffle mags. So you're darn near ready to go to war with this rig here. And we really appreciate those people donating that extra gear. Off the shelf, that'd be somewhere around a $4,500 gun. And so really cool opportunity to help Zach's family and also have a chance at helping yourself. Tickets for that, every $20 you spend gets you another entry in the drawing. So go to studentofthegun.com/hugyourAK, and we really appreciate that. There is
Paul and Jared, sorry to interrupt. Is it too late to throw one in? I'll add AK class free.
Whoa, excellent.
That's
Very
easy,
cool.
right, Jared? That's easy. This is when he's like, yeah, that's easy.
Yeah, he's just doing a text change. He's going to be totally fine. Totally fine. So should we go over the armor kit as well, or are we gonna commercial break or whatever, and or give people?
No, go ahead and knock that out so that everybody knows.
So a bunch of people wanted to give even more, but I'm like, this gun is loaded, and so we had an idea. I've been wanting to release an armor's kit for a while, and that was something I could put together pretty quickly. And so the alumni at Tactical Response got together and donated a ton of my favorite tools. And Zach didn't profess to be an AK wizard on building. He designed around them and didn't do a ton of that, but I still thought it was a fitting tribute. He was a gearhead and loved the AK, built a lot around it. So that kit, the tickets for it are $10. So do a separate entry, increments of $10, and every $10 will get you an entry to what is somewhere around a $700 armor's kit. It's really nice. First thing of that, and there's pictures if you go to studentofthegun.com/hugyourAK and go over to raffle. Up at the top, there are two buttons. There's the ODS 1775 raffle and then the armor kit. So hit that button and you'll see pictures of what you're getting in this one. Even if you don't win the tool list on here, this is not a super common list. It's the tools that I've come to value the most in building, but I skewed it towards setting a gun up. It's less about riveting and more about working on fire control groups. And a lot of these are, not just fire control, but the armor side of things as opposed to the builder side of things.
Well, as long as there's a Dremel tool in there, I think we're okay.
You shut your whore mouth.
You know what James said? He said if we wanted to institute a 5-day waiting period, it needs to be on Dremel tools.
Class 3 SOT on that one. The first tool, and I think everybody should have one of these, whether they work on guns or not. This is easily as useful as a Leatherman and way more sturdy. It's a Nipex parallel jaw pliers, and those are. I see Marco nodding his head.
Marco's not. He agrees.
These things are crazy. They work as a pin press. So, like if you're working on an AR to start, those inferior pins that go on ARs, these work really well for that, and without kinking them and stuff. And they're sort of like a channel lock and a vice grip had a baby. They're really funny. But the jaws always stay parallel and are adjustable within a range. I cannot overstate how much I love these things. And for the gearheads in your life, Father's Day, that kind of thing, great present. Pair of those in the size that I like best. They come in a bunch of sizes. The second favorite tool that I have are these Halder. They're German. The Germans really know how to make nice tools. The Halder number 25 dead blow mallet. And they cost money. They're expensive, but they're totally worth it. They've got a really nice Delrin jaw. Very nice heft to them. You can get different sizes. This is the size that I like best for what we're talking about. Midwest Industries bench block, super useful. Just clamp the thing up, work on your gun. Don't ever squeeze your receiver in a vise. Fix-It sticks. These aren't specifically AK things, but for working on modern AKs, yeah, Marco's holding up the bench block there. Fix-It sticks, just a super useful T-handle ratcheting thing. There's an SOE tool bag for organizing all this stuff. A rifle dynamic spring kit for replacing springs. They almost never break, but it's really nice to have a spare set. Geisley suppressor alignment rod. All adults who have cans should have suppressor alignment rods. Bad things happen, and it saves you a lot of grief to just be able to check. A giant 2 jumbo packs of Q-tips. The wood handled Q-tips. Another uncommon tool, a boride 320 grit stone. These are for EDM polishing, and they're weird. They're hard you don't run across them a lot, but they're fantastic for trigger work and just smoothing out burrs. And it's like a little sharpening stone that is perfect for the AK. Some vice barrel blocks. They're not special, but they're really useful. Some Occam Lube stuff. It's a product we have. There's an oil bottle that is just great for sitting on your bench. It's got a little hypodermic needle for squishing out just a little bit of oil when you need it. Lube DIY kit, same thing, but for grease or oil and portable, leak proof, that kind of thing. AK front sight tool, Lube pre-fills with our Black Magic grease in it. It's a graphite moly synthetic thing that's awesome. It blows the doors off anything I've seen a lab sheet on. This is sort of a fun one and a little extra, but they're really cool, and I wanted to kick one in. Our mag catch swage tool. Swaging mag catches has been just awful before this tool, and this makes it easy. We've got a bunch of instructional videos to go with that. We've got a fat bottom mag catch, and that's a thing that I really do feel comfortable saying that if you're halfway handy, you don't even have to be Dremel competent, and you can install a fat bottom. So there's the fat bottom and the ability to install it. And then some Starrett punches. Punches are just great for everything. Starrett makes a very high quality one. So you can go to the website, again, studentofthegun.com/hugyourAK, and really encourage you to enter. I think the Armor's kit's going to be the sleeper, and not that many people are going to donate, and somebody's going to get lucky. And so both raffles are really worth doing. Don't neglect throwing in a tenner on this kit. A bunch of really great stuff in it, and goes to a great cause. So if you knew Zach, or if you knew of him, or you love guns and liberty, and you like America, please consider kicking in on both of these raffles. I know times are tight. His family could really use the support. Every penny that doesn't get eaten up by credit card fees is going to the family. We're not taking any cut on the guns of donation, and then these people have kindly donated all this stuff. So it's a great opportunity to donate to a really wonderful family that has a really big hole left in it by Zach's passing.
Thank you very much. Jared, are you in my thing, I don't see any questions. Are there questions in the public feed that we need to be addressed, or can I move on? Or Zach, either one. You can.
I think we are good to move on. But again, that's studentofthegun.com/hugyourAK. There will be a link wherever you're watching this. If you're watching it, obviously you're watching on studentofthegun.com/hugyourAK. It's right below the video.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right, I'm gonna do like a blitz roundtable. Marty, what just released yesterday? Tell everybody what just released yesterday.
That would be the Talking Lead AK corner about bayonets.
That's right, the bayonet corner. We talked about all things sharp,
sticky, pointy things.
Sharp, sticky point. I even have I brought my bayonet with the Bakelite handle and the fancy ones, because I want people to be jealous. And they got the fancy ones.
Well, wait till Mark starts breaking his out.
No, I know.
No muss.
All right.
In the words of Durant, no muss. I have them stashed away in 5 different locations. I'm not breaking them out right now.
All right, and Sonny was on.
I was going to say, we had you on, we had Marco on, and then Rich Nyman, who wrote the book on the M9 bayonet. So really good episode. Dropped yesterday. Check it out. Next month, we're going to talk LMGs.
There you go. Sonny was on with us today. If you guys didn't catch the episode of today's Student of the Gun Radio, the Hug Your AK Day, Sonny was on with us today, and we talked tactics, and we talked guns, and we talked philosophy, and we talked all kinds of stuff. You're back at home now, Sonny?
Yes, got home from Camden, Tennessee yesterday, I believe. Yeah, Monday morning. Got home. We went there for the Zach's Memorial and Self-Reliance Festival at SOE.
SOE, yes.
Damn it, I missed you, Sonny. I was there too. I didn't see you there, bud.
You know, I hide well.
Maybe you didn't have the kilt on. Maybe that's what it was.
I blend in my old days of learning.
Yeah.
So, speaking of AKs and the promotion of AKs, Jeff Kirkham, there's a rumor out that the Black Autumn book is going to be is it going to be a movie, or is it going to be a series?
The rumors are true. Yes, it's going to be a series. we're lucky enough that Angel Studios decided to take it on. Same guys who did The Chosen and Sound of Freedom. And so now they've taken it on, and yeah, it's pretty exciting. They are filming as we speak. So I was just out last weekend with a bunch of the actors and making sure that they had good firearms handling skills. And so, yeah, and I introduced them to the AK as well. So
I was going to say, I know there's going to be AKs in this show.
we'll hope so.
Where's filming it? Can you say where?
Here in Utah. So yeah, it's right here in Utah at up in Bountiful where all the filming's going on. So it's pretty exciting. I mean, I think that's probably every author's dream.
Last minute stand in bad guys that get shot. I'm happy to be one of those.
I'll let them know.
You going to be a marauder?
Yeah.
All right, yeah, and Jeff is also friends with Wally.
Yes,
So
I am.
Don't forget that.
Well, I had to, we actually, so funny enough, this t-shirt, so Wally was one of my guys in Afghanistan that now lives in the U.S., got his citizenship. And so now he's a tax-paying American cit. But this picture of him holding an AK was taken for one of the trailers that we did when we were, it was a few years ago when we were looking to potentially make this into a movie. And so, 2-3 years later, Shazam, here we are.
And Wally knows his way around an AK.
Wally knows his way around an AK. So I've known Wally. For you guys that don't know, I've known Wally since he was 18 years old. I met him back in 2004 in Afghanistan when we were first cranking up. He was just a young buck back then, and then he rose up through the ranks and became one of our, he became one of our top tier commanders. So he was the commander of the top tier unit inside of that program that was arguably the top tier program in the country. And he's a great guy, salt of the earth. He's got a grundle of kids, but just fantastic human being that we've become very close friends. We were friends before, but now that he lives like right on the other side of the hill from me, and so it's pretty cool.
So what channel, like when that comes, is it going to be Amazon Prime? Is it going to be Hulu? Is it going to be, do we know yet?
Angel. It'll be on Angel Studios. So they've got some magic that they do with the video that's part of how they monetize and whatnot. So same place that you used to be able to see The Chosen and whatnot, because it's a series. So
yeah, I was just scrolling through one of the freaking apps last night, and I came across The Chosen, and I can't remember which one it was. But
it's called The Homestead is the name of the series, and Black Autumn is season 1. So it'll be Black Autumn season 1, and then if people like it and we get another season, then it'll be White Wasteland will be season 2, and then the grand finale will be Blood Spring.
There you go. Marco, are you overwhelmed yet? I know it takes a lot to overwhelm Marco.
Processing everything, but
so has everybody in this who in this call has never been in the same physical location? I've been obviously in the same physical location as all of you freaks, but is everybody here going to go to Las Vegas this year for the great debacle that we call SHOT Show?
You're already registered.
That's a definite maybe.
There.
Same. Yeah.
It's a pretty strong no here.
So Sonny's a no, because they sent out the pre-registers.
I already got the ticket.
Marco's a yes. There, Marco's a yes.
I have to go. The OSG wants me there.
There you go. Marty, what are you shrugging your shoulders about? You're not sure?
I'm always on the bubble. You just never know.
You're always not sure. Okay. Jack, Jared, do we have any questions yet? I can't believe we don't have any questions. That are people just like,
nope.
They're in awe.
No questions at the moment, but I just want to once again remind everybody, studentofthegun.com/hugyourak. There's a link in wherever you're watching. to get in on the raffle to help support Zach's family. And not this
There you
Zach, the other
go.
Zach.
And I
There
am
you-
terribly remiss in forgetting that Tactical Response is throwing in a fighting rifle class with the armorer's kit. So we've got a Sunny class with the gun, and we have a Tactical Response class with the armorer's kit.
Well, there you go. And Brian, I wanted to say that you look like you're in the backdrop. You're going to do a beheading video. So just chill out with that right there. You got the makeshift sheet thrown up so that nobody can tell the
Skunk
intel
work
guys.
stuff.
Yeah,
That's
they won't
right.
know where you were when
Yep.
when you did that. Yeah, okay,
Yep.
I got you. That's not funny. You shouldn't say stuff like that.
With world
That's what it
events,
looks
I'm
like,
just
man.
gonna. I heard a great line the other day that silence is eloquence, and I'm just going to keep my mouth shut.
Does everybody know the Jay Gibson story about there better be beheading videos on that?
Negative. You need to drop that. Yeah.
Oh, so when Jay was contracting back in the day, and they hit a building and they went in and they found, is this PG or like are there children?
We're
watching?
live, so keep that in mind.
Oh, okay. Well, damn. I don't know if I can elaborate. And Jeff, do you know the there better be beheading videos on that videotape story? No.
No, I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. Well, Sonny, do you know?
No.
No, none of you guys know. Oh man, how do I know this? All right, everybody here knows Jay Gibson, right?
Yeah.
But next time you're with Jay, you're gonna be like, "Hey Jay, did you ever find a videotape in a safe house full of sex toys?" So they hit a house and they went into the room and there was a video. You know how the Hodge are all crazy for they're like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs for VHS cameras. So they had a VHS camera set up. And it was a small room, and there were plastic sexual devices
Marital aids.
all over the room. There were plastic sexual devices all over the room, and they tossed the room, and they find a box of videotapes. And Gibson looks at it and he goes, "Those better be beheading tapes." I know it's you either get it, or you don't. But anyway, moving on, talking about the AK. So what I have in you know what Cooper said? He said if you can't reach your rifle in 3 seconds, or if you can't reach your firearm in 3 seconds, you missed the whole point of this book. So what I've got in my paw right now is I have the BFT, the most recent. I don't know. Is this the most recent from Century? I think it is. The Bulged Forged Trunnion. So after they came up with their first one, and then they did another one, and they did another one, and people were like, and then the what was it? The AK Operators Union guys they all ganged up on them, and they're like, the Trunnions are blah, blah, blah. Here's the deal. Can we all agree on this? Raise your hand if you think this is a true story. 10 years ago, not one mother lover in the American gun community knew what a Trunnion was. Is that a safe assumption?
No, you might want to go a little further back.
In the American gun community, they didn't even know what a Trunnion was. And then thanks to the AK Operators Union, everyone's like, Trunnion, Trunnions. It's like, okay, whatever. So this is the BFT. This is the BFT. And the great thing about this is that they did include hello. Is that a new one? That's a new one, or is that a loaner?
No, that's a loaner.
That's the loaner.
It's the best kind. It's like grandkids when they make messes and stuff. You can hand them back to the owner.
Just give them back.
But that's blue. So she is about she's probably a good 60 pounds of muscle. So when the solicitors come to the door and she is there, her head's about that big. So they all like, whoa, because she's a pit bull. I mean, she's very sweet, but I would be hesitant to mess with her. But yeah, so she's great for solicitors because they go.
Not have Farm Bureau for your insurance, they'll drop you.
What's that?
So if you got Farm Bureau for your insurance, they'll drop you for having a pit bull.
It's not my dog.
Not his dog. It's a loner.
Let them know it was there.
That's right. I didn't know.
I'm just house sitting.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna do something that is dangerous. I'm gonna throw it out there. Is there anything any of you want to say, AK related? Not one. I don't know you people.
I love my AK.
You have to be a little bit more specific. What are you fishing for, Paul?
I'm not fishing for anything. I'm filling time waiting for people to ask questions. I thought people would have been asking a lot of questions right now. What do you got there, Marty? That looks like it might be a is that a pistol? Oh, look at Marty. He's putting himself on the radar.
It's just visiting.
It's just visiting. That's right. It's a loaner. It's just visiting. It's not mine. So is everybody here a member of what is it? Gun Owners of America that got that has the protection from the injunction?
I think it's the Second Amendment Foundation.
Is it 2A? It is.
There's multiple organizations that have secured that, as far as I know. Firearms Policy Coalition or gunrights.org has one. I think GOA has one. And not sure about Second Amendment.
And there's Maxim Defense has one too. That's the guys that selling a lot of braces.
Yeah.
I think they're on the same ticket with the Gun Owners of America.
Interesting times that we live in. Yeah, when I read the Constitution when I was in high school, it said that these rights protect you. The Bill of Rights protects you as long as you're a member of an approved organization. You guys all saw that, right?
Let me just reach out in front of me and pull this.
Yeah, there you go. It says in there. It says the Bill of Rights applies to you as long as you're a member of a government-approved organization. I think that's as plain as the nose on your face, man. As plain as the nose on your face. Projects. All right. So, Marco, do you have a project coming up, AK related?
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, Marty and I actually working on a concept, but going to be announced on, or at least, I guess, the teaser would be announced on his show, right? Later next month. But yeah, it will be. I'd say it will be related to a lot of AK shooting, some exotic.
It'll be an experience, won't it, Marco?
Yeah, it would be an experience. Correct. It's sort of like it's going to be sort of like a AK lover Disneyland type of deal. So where people can come in and shoot some of the stuff that is they only seen in the books.
Well,
but Marty is going to drive all that.
Enough said.
Is that going to be in Tennessee?
Actually, no.
Enough said.
Enough said. Oh, okay. All right. Sonny, what do you have going on that's AK related, project wise?
Project wise, I'm really not involved with any kind of equipment centric projects. Just focusing on training. So, as far as AK related, still doing my AK knowledge classes, and really that's about it. Well, I'm working on a number of videos that will probably piss a lot of people off. But
that's par for the course.
That's just normal day, you know.
That's a normal day for you.
Yeah.
I've got to admit that I'm a little bit jealous because I never got a freaking U.S. Palm banana clip.
Oh, really?
I never got one of the Chiquita banana when they did
I received the package out of the blue, you know, and I'm like, I know I didn't order nothing from them, but it came in the package, so I sent a thank you note and I told them, do not ever use the same color combination again. Sorry, not sorry, but
you mean you didn't, Sonny? You didn't change your Facebook profile to the blue and yellow flag? What?
No, I didn't do that. I didn't put the so-called Star of David in blue and yellow or rainbow or whatever the fuck the color of, sorry, whatever the color of the day is. No, I don't do that. I don't stand with, issues.
You don't stand with.
I have
Well,
opinions about issues, and that's about it.
You're obviously xenophobic, and I've just diagnosed you with xenophobia.
Yes.
Funny story. When I was a young man, I wasn't that young. I was a teenager. One of my dad's friends was a Vietnam War veteran. He was an infantry veteran, and I would just sit there and listen to him talk. Talk about this and that, and I remember him specifically talking about taking AKs off of the enemy, and him referring to the magazines in the AKs as banana clips.
Yep.
and this, and I was probably listening to this guy tell stories in the early mid '80s, so and it's hilarious to me that the Gen Z people or the Gen or whatever they are, the millennials are like, no, but don't use that term. It's like, look, dude, that term just didn't pop up today or yesterday. That term's 50 years old or more.
But to be fair, Paul, that term is specific to this country. First time I heard it is after immigrating here.
Yeah. Well, the Nam vets referred to those curvy mags that were sticking out of the Kalashnikovs as banana clips. So
This is for Sonny. Oh, sorry. Hang on.
Marty's got banana clips.
I think the term came from the M1 carbines when they had the 30 rounders first.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got a
Sonny.
See that, Marco?
Well, that's they started. Wasn't that the first time the jungle clip was coined? Was the phrase jungle clip was when the carbines when they decided for the M2s that they needed 30 rounds instead of 15?
You mean for the M16s?
No, for the M1s. The M1s that were the M2s, the full auto ones, and that they're issuing during the Pacific Theater War, and they realize they're like, wow, we put a happy switch on this thing, and they press it, and those little 15 round things are empty really fast. So let's do 30s,
Yep.
And they kind of had the swoop to them.
Yep.
And I believe it was probably the Marines that started calling them jungle clips because that's where they were using them.
Yeah.
You know who we didn't talk about the other day on the bayonet corner is we didn't talk about that. We talked about the Brits using bayonets, and we talked about the Russian bayonets, obviously, the Kalashnikov bayonets and how they fit on upside down so you can stab people and then pull them up. And these, as weird as it looks, these go in like nobody's business, don't they, guys? When you push these, it's almost like they pull themselves into the object that you're thrusting them into. But I digress. We didn't talk about the Japs. Now, there was one culture that was bayonet-centric, and that was the Imperial Japanese Army. Those dudes in the era of machine guns and self-loading rifles were still issuing 18-inch mini sword bayonets. And how when we talked about a little bit about how the bayonet is as much of a psychological weapon as it is a practical weapon. It has a psychological impact on people who face it because nobody wants to get stuck.
When I was in Haiti back in the 90s during Uphold Democracy, the Haitians pretty quickly figured out that it's like they're not going to shoot us, when they would start rioting or start trying to close in and break the perimeter and stuff. And then they figured out pretty quick that they may get pepper sprayed a little bit, but that really wasn't going to go too far. So I actually started putting a bayonet on the end of my M16. So it was an old M16-2 that we had. And that was one of those because it's very much a culture of the knife. And so then all of a sudden when I was standing there with my rifle with a bayonet on the end, they weren't so sure. They were pretty sure I wasn't going to shoot them. They knew I wasn't going to shoot them. They were pretty sure I wasn't going to pepper spray them, but they weren't too sure about that that knife on the end of the rifle, and so it actually worked really well that they then all of a sudden stay back.
They want to give you a wide berth.
Well,
Gave me-
everybody's familiar with the knife, what the knife does, how you can cut your fingers or whatever, your hand, and they know how sharp it is. Bullet is something conceptual. They don't see it coming out. They see the tube or something that the bullet might come out of. But the
That's
bayonet
cool.
in their face has that. If I touch it, I'll most likely get hurt, and it would hurt. That's probably the concept of that psychological
Absolutely.
impact on the.
I explain it to people like this, there are two ways to be inside another person. One of them, generally speaking, is good unless you're in prison and you're picking up the soap. And the other one is bladed weapon. There is no higher level of intimacy. And those are two ways. So it is kind of primal. It is, we've been slicing and stabbing each other for thousands of years. Bullets are a relatively new way to kill and die. We don't have yet per se genetic level of fear of the, projectiles coming from the firearms. I don't know. If a species will survive another 500 years, maybe we will. But at this point, blade is definitely one of the most primal fears.
Well, the bullet is kind of a to whom it may concern, but the bayonet is very personal.
Well, blindside another person. It's pretty damn personal.
Yeah, it's very personal. It's a very personal thing. Isn't that right, Marty?
Yes.
I appreciated your post today. I appreciated how you put, man, Marty was fancy today. He did a Hug Your AK post, and he put music in it, and he put visual effects. Did you do all that yourself?
That's all me, baby.
You did that all yourself? You didn't have an 18-year-old tech specialist do that for you?
He had to work today, so I had to do it on my.
There you go.
What is
Sons.
what's the latest in is there any new developments with AKs? Like any I don't know, any new I've been buried in school, and so other than
in the world of AKs, Jeff, or in the US?
world of AKs or the US. Either or.
Well, the latest and the greatest is the AK-12's got battle tested and developed a few deficiencies that had to be corrected. First of them was that 3-shot burst mode has been removed. Now it's just a semi or full.
Why was it removed?
It just, if you a 505 such a low impulse cartridge, if you learn how to fire full auto, you pretty much control it, like on count of 22, for example. And so you don't really need that thing. And then the people were a lot of people who got mobilized that served with just the 2 modes of operation guns would drop the second click thinking it's semi-auto, and it gives you the 3-round bursts and stuff. So it was just not needed. You can easily control, Sonny will back me up probably on this, you can easily control AK-74 with 3-round bursts anyway.
Yeah, we had a version in Afghanistan for a little while that was all the way down was 3-round. Next one up was all the way down was 3-round. Next one up was semi, and the next one up was full, and then safe. I think that was but it was all the way down was the 3-round. I was amazed at how 25 meters you could hit a 6x6 inch plate. With that 3-round burst and all 3 rounds, it'd be, they weren't touching, but they weren't far off from each other. The 5.45 is just a fantastic caliber.
Yeah, I agree. I taught the Bravo company. That's a Michigan National Guard full-time soldiers, the personnel.
Mm-hmm.
And so they asked me to do a class for them. That was in I want to say it's winter of 2019. It's cold as a bastard. I had the snow halfway up to my knee. But we did the first day of class, which I told them like about the ambushes and counter ambush and that kind of stuff, some show and tell. And then the next day we went to a range, and I asked them. I was going to do all kinds of like tactical movement of a unit and the disengaging and engaging, that kind of stuff. And then I asked them, so what do you want to learn? And all of these guys are like sergeants and that's been deployed to Iraq a few times, and some of them went to Afghanistan. And they mainly a training company. They come in and they train the locals. And the answer just floored me. It says, "Can you show us how to fire full auto?" And I go, "Okay, I'm dumbfounded because I was thinking the active military, they should know that." And of course, one of the guys said, I asked my sergeant major or whoever was his sergeant, said, how do you fire this full auto? He goes, I have no idea, and neither should you. And so I taught him on the count of 22, and at 50 yards, at 6-inch round targets, they were putting 2 rounds into that 6-inch every time. And it's doable, because what happens, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, when you fire semi-automatic, like rapidly pulling on the trigger like this, your muscle stance and everything, and that's you constantly yanking that gun. A lot of people argue with me, going, "No, I'm like constantly on target." Yeah, standing in the freaking range, yeah, you are. But if you're receiving incoming fire and stuff, your body and the whole organism works differently, and with adrenaline and everything. So squeezing that trigger with the discipline would probably be more effective, sending the multiple rounds into that designated target area than trying to bump fire it, so to speak, with your finger. And that's my personal opinion, though.
Were you guys shooting 5.45 or 7.62?
Oh, 5.45. Well, those guys were shooting 5.56. They were shooting their issued M4s.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's really common in the modern mill in the U.S. It's very rare to find a unit that practices full auto fire with their carbine. It's very, very rare.
The commands frown on it.
Yeah,
the commands frown on it. They say it's a waste of ammo and they shouldn't be doing it.
It's almost like it's a lost art. But the Ordnance Corps is alive and well as far as like saying they're going to waste ammo. Because I'll tell you what, the first time you receive incoming full auto, it gets your attention, and then if you have any doubt, and you want to learn it for yourself, just try get simunitions or UTM or hell even airsoft, and have somebody at the end of a hallway on full auto and say that it's not valuable. You change your mind pretty stinking fast.
Yeah, and I always you see these guys every now and then. I have at the end of the class, I'll bring one of my MGs and let students kind of shoot it. I just give them like 10 rounds, right? So and probably 75% of them just go like this and shoot the whole load in less than 2 seconds or whatever. And I said, okay, well, were you satisfied? I mean, how did it feel for you for that 1.2 seconds that you shot all these 10 rounds? And you got excited, right? But then it was over. But if you, so I would, teach them, say, look, why don't you control with the short bursts and stuff? And then you can engage multiple targets and you'll really have fun, hitting this target, hitting that target, and so on and so on. And, of course, but every time somebody goes behind a full auto gun on a regular, like a regular person, not trained person, they would shoot the entire freaking magazine in maybe 1 or 2 bursts. And I was like, what's the point? What did you learn in that moment,
That's what we call affectionately a big dopamine dump.
Yeah. The only best thing would be if they close their eyes too. At the same
Yeah.
Oh, I personally believe that in the United States, the 545 is probably one of the most underappreciated cartridges by Americans. I don't think they comprehend it. I don't think they understand it. I think they're convinced that, oh, it's the same as a 556, and I can get 556, and it's the same thing. So, but it's just not. And
No.
I weep every time I remember the $179 ham cans of the 880 rounds of 7 or 545 for less than $200.
I was living in Tucson, and somebody got a hold of me, and it was offering a container of 505 at 11 cents a round. It's like, I was renting an apartment. Where am I going to put a container of freaking ammo?
Dude, I'd have found a place.
I had to forgo that proposition. And
if we'd only known.
Anybody that's listening, if you haven't shot a 545, like the closest, it's like the recoil it feels like a 22 that's a little hotter. I mean, it's amazing. The recoil is out of the 74 is just negligible at best. It's so controllable, and I mean, you start looking at the ballistics of that round, and it's just like, man, it's a great rifle.
It's so good that the U.S. government was afraid of it.
And for the feminists among us, there was a woman who designed it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It was a woman who was a lead designer in the project. Obviously, when Russians design something, it's a team effort. Like in the cartridge, it would be, they have to be a team lead that would provide the concept. And then like the person who's specialist in the rounds themselves would be working on that thing. And then the powder, chemists with the powders and then all this, it's a team effort. Like she was the lead person.
Huh.
Go use it.
Hey, Sonny, when you were active duty, by the time you were active duty, the 74 was the standard. Did they have you guys cross train or use both platforms, the 7.62, or did they pretty much just lean on the 5.45?
In the regular unit, 74 was standard issue. Basically, all armories were majority of weapons in the armories were 5.45s. Within our unit, we had a mix. We're going with 5.45, 7.62, depending on the job. And then we were also an early unit that was testing the 9x39s. So we had kind of, a little bit of luxury of choice, so to speak, based on the job.
How did you feel about the RPK 74?
It's controversial issue saying that if you have the LMG and that one.
Ooh, Marco's got everything. Do you have everything, Marco?
Not yet. I'm still working on stage.
Marco is resourceful dude. So yeah, but the 5.45 for the LMG, it's controversy that I think there's no need for that controversy to exist. As Jeff was saying, when you on the receiving end hear the ratata, no one really is judging by the sound, going like, well, I don't have to worry about it. It's just a bunch of 5.45s coming at me, and. As a support gun, man, it does what it does. Granted, when you're working in places like, let's say, current events happening, let's say in Ukraine, right? You in the fairly heavy wooded areas and all that. Yeah, 7.62 probably will be preferred caliber for that kind of work. 5.45, it does have a tendency being a lighter round of more likely deviation from the target, even when you're shooting through relatively light brush. Nevertheless, to me, it's again, it's job dependent. It has its place. Regardless if it's 7.62, 5.45, I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end.
So, Jeff, you had the option. I mean, you could have had whatever you wanted to, right? But you lean towards the 30 cal, the 7.62 for your commandos.
Yeah, because we were both rural and urban, and so when you start talking about a better all around caliber, if you need something, it's like Sonny was just saying, if somebody's hiding on the other side of a car, you probably want 30 cal so you can smash through that vehicle and get the guy behind it, or he's hiding behind a cinder block wall or something like that. The 545 with the steel, that mild steel core will start to go through there, but the 7.62's got, there's still core and with those two. So just kind of an all around thing. And then the walls in Afghanistan were mud brick. So there wasn't as much concern about over penetration because the walls were all like at least a foot thick, if not more. So you didn't have to, there wasn't the worry about over penetration, through walls and stuff. So just kind of all around stuff. It was, it seemed to work better, better for what the guys were doing.
Did your commandos prefer the PKM or the RPK because it was lighter and easier to maneuver?
We used PKs, and I am of the firm opinion that PK is the best machine gun out on the battlefield. It is phenomenal. We had a guy that was a Al Qaeda, and he was buzzsawing at us with a PK. He got one burst off. It was a miracle he didn't kill any of our guys, like a miracle. And he had expired because he had already taken some rounds, and every one of us was like, wow, that PK jammed. PKs don't jam. That was the hand of God came down and rescued people. The PK is a phenomenal, like out of all the, I mean, I love the AK but the PK is just, man, they nailed it when they put that.
I was going to say Marco went to get a PK.
It's a great machine gun. We had them. We chopped the barrels off, opened up the gas. Then we put a folding stock on the back so that we could, basically a paratrooper version. And that thing was money. Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, that's fantastic. And then we'd run the 10 round non-disintegrating belts that you could put together. So every 10 rounds the belt fell off. And then Blackheart International, they had developed a soft bag, kind of like with the saw. So we have those, and I mean, PK is fantastic machine gun. Why we don't use it in the U.S. is a mystery to me because it's far superior, in my opinion. It's far
because they haven't bought enough coke and hookers for the generals in the Pentagon.
Well, that's it, right? I mean,
maybe if SIG started making one.
Yeah. If SIG or one of these other lobbyist groups made it, then they'd be like, "Oh, this is the greatest! Look what we invented."
Hey, are we going to talk about the fact that we've just thrown the Stanag specs in the garbage can with this new 277 Fury freaking SIG centric specific battle rifle cartridge?
Well, before we switch the subject, all of you guys, all over here hating an RPK 74. But getting back to what Jeff was saying earlier, shooting the full auto 505. In the whole history of this world, or possibly even the universe, there wasn't a gun that was created that is better shooting full auto and more fun than RPK 74. And if anybody, all of you boys and girls in TV land, if you get a chance to shoot an RPK at full auto, please do it. Just drop whatever you're going. If you're going to like a court appearance or wedding or funeral, cancel it. and go and shoot an
Marco,
RPK.
I absolutely have no hate for RPK 74. I love it. I said, a lot of folks seem to create this controversy that why would you need something like that in the lighter caliber when you can have the 7.62 or even the bigger stuff 7.62 54. No, it's a great weapon because of it is it is a little bit heavier than your standard AK-74, and whether you're shooting it from the bipod or standing up or from the hip, it is an experience to unload that 45 round magazine. It really is an experience, and it's very, very pleasant experience.
Well, I
on,
mean,
on the giving side, not on the receiving.
The design was, I mean, when they came up with the original RPK for the 7.62, as a saw, people are like, "Oh, I got machine guns and stuff." Like, yeah, but in small units, you're not going to issue a PK to a 4-man fire team, right? You need a saw, and the fact that they made they tried to do that. Right, Jeff? Did you ever have a 249 that would run reliably with magazines?
No.
And
I
those
never.
mags are gone. Once you ran it through, throw it away.
Yeah, I never experienced a saw that would run on a magazine.
No, that was one of those great in concept, horrible in execution type things. Yeah, it just never.
Yeah, in the book it said, "Oh, and if you run out of linked ammo, you could just feed it magazines." Not in the real world, you can't. And then people are like, "Oh, you need brand new magazines." I'm like, "Oh, I didn't realize that we just had to run brand new magazines through it." And you're like, "Well, yeah."
If we had mags that would run in the saw, then we would mark those mags so that because they would run in the saw, because everybody knew that nothing else would run in those things, which is like exactly what you want if you're deployed in a combat situation, right? Hey, make sure you throw the magazine that
one that has the red X on it.
So I asked this question with absolutely no experience, but I've loved the PKM for a very long time and was curious why it hadn't gotten knocked off in the Western world, and came across the 240 Bravo. And I am curious if those of you have gotten to touch one and use one. It sure looks to me like it's just a knockoff of the PKM. I'm wondering first if that's true, and second if it delivers in a similar way to the PKM.
What is the designation of it again?
240 Bravo. It's the FN Mag, Mike Alpha Golf. And it's a 7.62 NATO belt fed that's riveted in a very similar way. The gas system's similar. The bipod. It sure
taken
looks
out for the Mag 58, and then they just renamed it. Essentially, it used to be called the Mag 58. The stock was brown and made out of wood, and then we made it the 240. And they adopted it. Mag 58 is a great machine gun. It's fantastic, but it uses disintegrating links, and it plunges the bullet straight into the chamber, versus the PK that extracts the bullet. Very kind of similar to an M2 or an M1919, where it extracts the bullet, it drops down, and then shoves it forward. So the PK cleans itself. It cleans those bullets before it puts it in there. Whereas with the plunging, if you've got crap on the bullet, you've now got crap in the chamber that's there. The Mag 58, because of the violence of it, kind of was able to overcome that. But the big drawback, I don't know what the weight off the top of my head of the 240 is, but it's heavy. It's real. It may be twice as heavy as a PK. It may not be quite.
It's 7.5 kilograms more.
It's how many?
7.5 kilograms.
Yeah. So I mean, you're
like
talking
15 pounds or something.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Whereas the PK is not. The PK is not heavy at all, and it's slim. It's easy to carry. It's really well thought. It's obvious that a dude who was in the infantry thought about. The Americans complain about the left-handed feed with the bullets. But if you're a lone shooter, you don't need an AG. You can feed those in yourself. It's easier to load. You don't have to worry about if it's link up or link down like you do with the 240 and the 249. It's just Americans like to complain about the barrel change. With a little bit of practice, you can change the barrel just fine. It's not a big deal. So yeah, it's a different operating system, actually.
One would hope that since we gave them like $80 million or $80 billion worth of U.S. hardware, that we could get like some reciprocity and get some PKs and some RPKs and stuff and trade. I think that's only fair. Don't you guys think that's fair?
Yeah,
Where do we go? Which country do we go to where they're just going to leave us Connex boxes full of machine guns?
What's funny is when it was in Afghanistan, we were sitting around there, and there was one of the guys I could hear him talking in the background. He's talking about M4s and giving them to the Afghans. And so at one point he turned to me, he's like, "Hey Jeff, what do you think? Should we give the Afghans M4s?" And I looked at him and I was like, "Yeah, we should." And he was like, "See, even the AK guy thinks we should give them M4s." And I was like, "Yeah, because 10 years from now, when we end up fighting all these guys, when we leave the equipment behind, none of these guns will work if we do that." And he was like, "That's not what I'm talking about."
That's not what I meant, man.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So where did Hamas get brand new M4s to when carry into Israel the other day? Do they go to Sam's or Shields and buy them, or Sportsman's Guide, or where did they get those?
US.gov.
Gov Planet. They went to Gov Planet and bought them.
Yeah, there's a store in Ramallah.
Oh man,
Probably the Taliban, right?
Absolutely the Taliban. But
like,
they couldn't get them through Iran, though. Iran wouldn't allow them to transport those through their country.
well, tariffs.
It's crazy, dudes, is we all know this, but all the old dudes, we do this as a matter of course. We like, look at how many M16s, like A1s, the Triangle 4, ended up in Africa after we just left thousands and tens of thousands of them behind when we fled at Vietnam. And then they're all over Africa, and we're like, how'd these get all over Africa? Gee, I don't know.
Well, it's okay. None of them will work in a couple of years. So it's the ultimate membership program where you have to keep buying parts and lubricant and maintenance kits and
Caterpillar model.
See, the Russians, they weren't interested in the membership program. It was buy it once and you've got it forever. Where the U.S. were like, no, we got to keep that money flowing.
It's like printer cartridges.
There you go.
Printer cartridges. Yeah, exactly.
I'm looking for an unopened Connex box full of FALs, full of R1s. That's what I'm looking for. Marco? Oh, Marco's going to... If I say RPG, is he going to back his chair up and go over to the safe? And Marty's like, yeah, you don't even know. Got
it all. Serious.
That's fantastic. I think we're giving people more than they expected. Are my sons still here, or did my sons leave? Does that have the sterilization hole in it?
Ooh, nice.
We are still here, and we actually do have some questions for you. If you,
all right, go ahead and yeah, but it doesn't have the road or the South African lion punched out.
No, it doesn't. It's a Steyr.
Okay. All right, Jared and Zach.
It's a Steyr. He's a Steyr. That was good, Marco.
Steyr. All right, Jared and Zach, you guys take over for a second and field the questions to the panel.
All right, cool, because we do actually have a couple of questions, and the first one we're going to go ahead and throw over to you, Brian, which is, can people enter the giveaway multiple times?
Absolutely. It's like Democrat voting, early and often. And the way it works is if you go in for $100 in the gun raffle, that's 5 tickets. If you want to come back and enter again, you can do that. If you want to enter in the gun raffle and in the armors raffle, totally good to go. In the armor raffle, If you put in $50, that's 5 tickets. So increments of $10 in the armors raffle, increments of $20 in the gun raffle. And again, Sonny generously attached one of his classes to the rifle, and Tactical Response has generously added a fighting rifle class to the armors package.
Fantastic. That's a great answer. And again, everybody, SternLegun.com/hugYourAK, and links are wherever you are watching this. There is a new link there you can click right now. Okay, another question that we got is actually for Sonny, which is, do you still have the first AK that you bought in America?
Yes, I do.
Very cool. What kind of AK was it? Like, who did it come from?
It's personally made by Mr. Mark Krebs.
Oh, fantastic.
Because my first one was nobody interested in what I have to say, but I'm going to chime in anyway. But yeah, and I bought the Chinese, the stamped one, whatever, it's Type 56S or something. And then I sent it to Mark with the Russian parts kit, and he built AKS-74 out of it. Right, wonderful gun, and I still have it too. Like, well, I mean, since '95, I think.
Yeah, so it's interesting that both me and Marco have one of the first guns that we got in the US from Mark Krebs. Mine was actually asked Mark specifically what I want him to do. It was longer because of legalities and all that stuff, but it's actually a slightly longer barrel 105. AK-105 that Mark built for me in 545 caliber. And many years later, I'm trying to think which SHOT Show it was. I went to Rifle Dynamics open house, and Mark Krebs was there. And when he heard from me that I still have that rifle and it still freaking runs, it was actually kind of like a very touching moment, because Mr. Krebs actually cried. He's like, "Really, you still have it?" I'm like, "Yep, still do, man." So it's that was my first rifle. After that, many came after that, but I very rarely, on very few occasions, I bought anything off the shelf per se. Most of them were made either by again, I had Mark Krebs, I had Jim Fuller back in the days, pre-Rifle Dynamics, and now post-Rifle Dynamics with Fuller Phoenix. I still don't have one made personally by this one guy that I see here. What's his name? Brian.
Yeah, we got to get that done.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for 3 years.
Yeah.
I do have one interesting, very interesting hybrid, which is actually an Arsenal fine-tuned by Rifle Dynamics, Jim Fuller when he was a Rifle Dynamics, with Merg handguards and few other touches by other people. So it's kind of like this, monstrosity put together from few people that are good at what they do. So yeah, that's my answer. Was Mark Krebs custom-made weapon.
Very cool, fantastic. We got another question which I can answer real quick, which is, will Run AKM shirts be available next year? And the answer is probably not, no, because this was a special thing for the 12th anniversary, and if you missed out on yours, Sonny, don't worry, I didn't forget about you. It is too late. So
let me interrupt. Can I interrupt?
Right. Apparently, the answer is yes, they will be. Go ahead.
No.
Let Jared interrupt. Just let him interrupt.
They're not going to be unless we reach $20,000 on Zach Hall's on this raffle that we're running for Zach Hall's family. So if that hits $20,000, we'll bring the Run AKM shirts back.
Oh,
that's the right answer.
Fantastic.
I like 20 is a good number for Zach's family. We need to make that happen.
Real quick, also, I got a message from one of the listeners that says the donate button. You guys might want to look into this for the PayPal. He says it doesn't take him to the Zach Hall page to donate. So, just so you know.
OnlyFans or what?
We're receiving donations, so it must be user error.
I don't know. Just saying.
Yeah, I just checked it on my end as well. So, good sir, whoever it is that sent you that message, try refreshing your page or possibly deleting your cookies, because it seems to be working. I'm not sure what the issue would be.
And this would be studentofthegun.com/hug your AK.
Correct.
So
The
does
link for the raffle.
I think I know what the issue is here. When you click that button, and this is a good thing, thank you for asking that question or letting us know, whoever that was, because when you click that button, it'll pop up with a Student of the Gun logo, and you're donating to Student of the Gun. We will pass that money to Zach's family directly.
there you go. So do you guys know? Is anyone on the panel know anyone at Hallmark? No,
I was gonna say
no one
earlier,
does,
there's a business here,
or
Paul.
American Greeting.
You just gave a great business opportunity to one of the listeners. I know where you're going about this. Somebody needs to start the greeting card company for Hug Your AK Day. That needs to happen tonight.
That's right. So by next year there'll be a variety of different cards. You know, if your kids, you can send your kids to school with a little box that they put, that they glue hearts and paper mache and stuff to, and they can hand out Hug Your AK cards to their friends, and they can give them back and reciprocate.
Excuse
awesome.
me, it is not a business, it is an industry that has been birthed. Multiple companies. Yeah.
More questions? Do we have any more questions, or did we fresh out of questions?
No, we still got some. And Jeff, this one's for you. When will the Homestead series be available to watch?
That's a good question. So right now they're filming and they are shooting, no pun intended. They're shooting for next spring for that to go. But stay tuned. Keep on the Homestead. You probably found the page on Angel Studios, but stay there. But they're pushing. They want to release it in the spring. This very coming spring. So
Are they non-union?
well, they got a variance because they got the waiver because it's a small film and it's the big film industry is the one that does it. And so because it's a smaller film, they were like, yeah, whatever, you guys can go.
They got a budget threshold. Yeah.
Yep. So, hey guys, I have to go. I've got another meeting in 5 minutes. That today has been the day of business meetings, but it's such a pleasure to see all you guys again. I mean, very cool.
And we're very
Thank
happy to have
you,
man.
Thank you, Jeff.
Absolutely. You guys have a good one. And to everybody listening, hey, hug your AK.
That's right.
Thanks for joining us, my friend.
You guys take care.
You as well.
Take care, Jeff.
All
Yeah,
right.
we've got a cottage industry of pro AK people here. I think we might just be converting. If we all put ourselves together, I think we're making inroads. I think we really are.
Yeah. I think so as well, and I've got an inroad you could possibly make or destroy, depending on the answers, which is how would you rate the WP-47 rifle?
WP-47?
I don't know if that was a joke or not. I'm just fielding the questions.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't know. Everyone is blanking, so
Yeah,
I
I'm
guess we just move on.
From Wolfpack Armory, the WP-47 Elite, I believe is that what they're referring
From
to?
Wolfpack Armory. I
It's
did
got
not
the
know
right
there was a
magazine in it.
Wolfpack Armory.
It's got the AK mag in it. Here,
Oh,
anybody's-
this is a
Hybrid.
mutant. It's a mutant.
Oh, it's an AR taking AK mag.
Oh,
With Rock and Lock. So I think Foxtrot Mike does something similar.
-2.
Years ago, I reviewed the what's the manufacturer? Not the Rock River, or maybe Rock River.
CMMG mutant, that thing.
No, ALR 47 or something like that. And I mean, the concept is great. The only next step needs to be taken is making it into a 545 caliber.
you guys remember when Adams Arms, before they got like bankrupt and sold and so forth, when the Adams Arms made a 545 drop-in upper for ARs? Do you guys remember that?
That was for a very short time, wasn't it?
Yeah, I got one of them, and because that was the time of the 11 cents a round 545, and I ran the crap out of that thing. You had to have the special magazines for it, but Yeah,
Well,
just
I just said if it could accept a lower, could accept a 74 mag. I mean, the years ago, there was like an influx of 74 magazines made by just about anybody. It's like you could buy East German Bakelite for like $10
Uh,
or less.
people are
Bakelights
crying
are
now.
so stinking good. People wonder why. There are some collectors, but those of us who train who love them, people wonder why. And it's like they just run. They are so well made, and they seem to be sort of self-lubricating, for lack of a better word, where the follower just glides on that Bakelite.
That's why we don't have them in America, because we can't have nice things. It's too good.
Yeah.
That, you know, I'm not even joking. How many things are we, quote, not allowed to have now? But when you examine it, you're like, why? It's good. It works. Oh yeah, but you're not allowed. Children might eat it. The children might eat it.
There's a great book by a farmer named Joel Salatin, who I'm a big fan of, and it's called, and he wrote it more than a decade ago, I think, Everything I Want to Do is Illegal. And it is phenomenal how many business opportunities I've had where I know how to do the thing, I could make money doing it, and the regulatory burden or XYZ regulation makes it absolutely untenable for a small businessman to take on. And it is really frustrating. Entrepreneurs want to make great shit here, and we can't.
I just had a chance to hang out with Joel Salatin at SOE.
He's an awesome dude.
He's
I
an
really
awesome
enjoy
dude.
him.
Some people refer to him as a lunatic farmer, you know. And funny story is, I met him first in like 2016 at one of the Red Pill Expo events with Mr. Griffin. And so now it's funny to see him at SOE, you know, for the Self-Reliance Festival. They're talking about, you know, the things, the self-reliance. Yeah, he's a great dude to talk to.
Yeah, he was on my very early on in my path to liberty. And got to meet him, came across him in like 2009, 2010, somewhere in there, and very gracious in person. And all of his books he actually has a CD that I bet you can still find on Amazon that's about how to farm with your kids, but it's actually how to do small business with your kids. And he has a bunch of principles like pay your kids. Your kids should not, if they're working hard, they should not be destitute. You know, he gives the example that they shouldn't have to ask you for money to get a Coke if they're working hard. And by the same token, nobody gets paid for breathing. And you have another one, integration into every aspect, and to really involve your kids in your business, you know, not just that they get to sweep up the floor, but you make them a part of things. And so he's quite a thinker. And writes really beautifully.
Well, in our industry, there aren't a ton, but there are several examples of what you just said, where the owners had their kids do everything. They had their kids work the warehouse. They had their kids work, you know, sales. They had their kids, you know, work, you know, every aspect of that, so that eventually they would know. And the kids, when they're young, they're like, oh, this is boring. I don't like to do this. Like, yeah, but you need to know how, and you need to know why it's important.
Yep.
That's how you learn the business, every aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Zach's going to take this whole thing over one day.
He's way more professional than the two of you other guys put together, bringing us up in the pregame here. You know, he's all smooth and cool, calm, collected, and you show up a minute ahead of time and
he's
get
like,
to be Mr. Rockstar. It's great.
Oh man. Well, I usually I feed all the animals like right before sunset. Right. And so this time I was working on a book and I was like, crap, I got to do all that before we get on here. So I went and did all that. And then I put some food in my belly so that I wouldn't be a hungry bear for this. And yeah, it's all right. We're good. Are there any more questions, Zach?
Oh yeah, totally. If you want more questions,
I want to respect our panel's time, because I don't know how long we've been going.
We're right about an hour and a half.
Oh no shit! Oh yeah. Wow. So okay, I thank you guys. You know, although my hour and a half, Marty just turned the microphone on. If this was Marty's show, he would have just turned the mics on and said, "Let's do this."
Oh yeah, it's been an hour and a half. Start recording now.
Pick a good question, Zach.
All right. So, are American-made AKs as bad as everyone says they are?
Who's they?
I don't know.
I mean, there's American-made AKs, and then there's American-made AKs. It's if somebody like James Fuller doing it or Mark Krebs, I mean, it would be blasphemy of the highest degree to say that those are bad or have deficiencies of any kind. But then, you look at some other manufacturers, and I'm not going to mention the names for the just being kind of professional here. But some other manufacturers might have a lesser reputation. So, and it's also the componentry is a big deal, right? I mean, talking about trunnions, forged or casted, and things like that. So,
you have some that are more affordable than others, and that's for a reason.
Yeah. Well, we've also gone through a lot of growing pains. See, the M16 AR-15 design goes back to the late 50s, early 60s. So you're talking in the United States of America. I mean, I believe, I think late 60s that Colt released the Sporter, the SP-101 Sporter, right? So in the United States of America, gun manufacturers have had a long time to work out the bugs of an AR, right? I mean, 50 years. But AKs didn't really become popular in the United States until the expiration of the crime bill, right? And then it took a few years. So, to be fair to the companies and the manufacturers, in the United States of America, it was a new thing. It's still relative. I mean, comparatively, it still is a new thing. So there were a lot of growing pains. The original made in the USA Century gun, bless their hearts. But to their credit, they sent Jaeger one of those guns, and he shot the crap out of it and broke some stuff on it and melted the handguards off and stuff like that. And to their credit, he sent them a laundry list of, hey, this is what you need to fix. And they did. They did fix most of it. Not all of it, but they fixed most of it. And that's really what you should expect from companies is, okay, what you should expect from them is, all right, it might not have been great, but can we make it better? Can we? And right now, I held up the BFT 47, and people are like, sensor arms explode. And first of all, they don't explode, and second of all, you're a liar. Well, I watched a YouTube thing where a guy did 1,000 round and he shot it dry, and then it broke. Like, oh, he shot it dry and then it broke. What did he prove? That's like draining all the oil out of an F-250 and then driving it 80 miles an hour and the engine seizes and brakes. You're like, see, it broke. Like, okay, what did you prove there? So, yeah, is everybody in the United States perfect when it comes to AKs? No. Are there a lot of really good ones out there? Yeah. One of the problems that we have with our market is that people, because the AR-15 is the Mr. Potato Head of guns, it's like the Glock of rifles. You take a table full of parts and you pay somebody minimum wage plus $2 an hour, and they assemble parts. And they take part, put it together, part, put it together, part, put it together. Well, people want that from their AKs. They're like, well, I can get a $600 AR and blah, 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 blah. And I got this AK, $600 AK, and it's crap and it's broken. Like, no kidding. It's like, Jeff said before he left, and Sonny agreed with him, Marco agreed with him, and I'm sure that Brian does too. If you really want something that's going to last, you have to pay for it.
Exactly.
So the Americans want a cheap AK, and we used to have cheap AKs that would run.
Well, but those cheap AKs had blood in them from conscript or communist labor.
Oh yeah.
Where people are like, yeah, I should be able to get an AK for the price of a chicken. It's like, no, that's not the situation. And the signal, the incredibly strong signal that the big three mass manufacturers of AKs are getting in this country is a sub $700 AK. And they are delivering that and for that price point, it's incredible that they can. And what they are not getting is a signal that people are willing to pay $2,000 for a gun that they can hand to their grandchildren. And the minute that they get a signal from the market that people are really willing to pay, if you took out the communist labor from all these part kits, the surplus kits that were being built over time, those were parts that were built in the 70s with labor in a controlled market, not a free market. That's a distortion, is what economists would call it. That's not a real thing. And if we love liberty and we love the American worker and we want quality guns that we can give to our grandchildren, I'm here to tell you that the minimum price point for that in the United States is $2,000 minimum. My guns cost a lot more because we're a cottage thing with a few dudes and economies of scale, basic economics. We make a few of this thing and we do it exceptionally well. Having seen both ends of the market, I'm very confident that if the consumer were willing to pay, somewhere in there, 1,800, 2,000, it's hard with inflation these days to know exactly where it would be. But man, we could have a great rifle. All we have to do is want to pay for it.
There you go.
That's a stigma, right? Out there. The first thing that anybody gets into guns or into AKs and learns, the first thing they learn about AK, it's the cheap shit. You can put it over your knee, put it together on your knee. And but like Brian said, if you apply your modern economical principles, or economy principles rather, to the manufacturing of those guns back that took place in the 70s and 80s or whatever, it's a $2,000 piece of equipment.
Well, and that stigma is established also. Think about it, the words as AK was often described, made by the peasants for the peasants, right? The translation of peasant of what it is being used in Russia back in the day has completely different connotation. And peasant here is being looked as this, uneducated, basic simpleton man. That was not the case in the Soviet system. The equivalent of the peasant word had completely different meaning. So when it got translated into West, the perception became that, well, this is just, this uneducated, unskilled laborer putting together cheap shit that's very simple and low quality. That was, as sometimes we say, lost in translation, because the substance of what the meaning of the word is in one culture and another is different. Civilizations are cultural phenomenon. It's not like one civilization, dictates the meaning of what everything means. So I think part of that stigma is that throughout history, we kind of never looked at what is the meaning of the whole, little marketing cliches that are being thrown around this item or that item, in this case specifically about AKs.
Thank you, Sonny. I mean, that underlines exactly the argument I've been having, not necessarily with AKs, but the perception of peasant guy from Russia that just got taken away from ringing the tails on the pig or something, or the goat or whatever, and put into battle. The fact that Russia gone through, or Soviet Union at that time in the early stages, went to this thing called industrialization and mechanization. And that's every village, every little kolkhoz or whatever they call them, collective farm had a what they call mechanized station, which they trained their tractor operators, their freaking plowing operators, and so on and so on, to give the young people an opportunity to stay in their respective villages and countryside, rather than escape to big cities and stuff. And so I get involved in conversations with the SVT-40, where everybody is saying it's like, oh, the Russian average soldier during World War II was too dumb to master the freaking gun. The freaking gun is basically, I mean, it's nothing. It takes nothing to disassemble and maintain it. It's like a modern gun today compared to M1 Garand, which is also a great gun in its time. It's a freaking I don't even know. It's like a little baby toy or something compared to Garand. And so if and I get in these conversations, and of course, I come at it from a strong position because I have the facts. And the people who usually argue with me never freaking shot the SVT-40 and never held it in their hands. And it's kind of the same thing that's a perception here, like Sonny explained. It's two different things. The dude who, he have to share the shoes with his sister, to go to town is not necessarily what average country boy from Soviet Union would be.
Well, and the other thing about it culturally, and I think it's important part of the conversation that's missing, because the product that came from former Soviet Union, specifically AK, it's again being seen as this low-tech, uneducated, simplistic, while it does have, you can say, relatively low tech, but then again, that's a scale of, you go like, well, what's high tech, what's low tech, how much of high tech you need to send the projectile down the range to hit what needs to be hit, and is robustness of that machine more important than sophistication or whatnot, because we're talking about very specific use in very specific environments. And, and that, in Russian language, rabotnik, kolkhoznik, right? It's what we refer to as peasants here. And direct translation is the worker or the farmer. That's the peasant, and that peasant very often could probably outdo most of American high school graduates in geography, in speaking a couple languages, and certainly in math, physics, and chemistry. And that's from the state-run educational system of freaking Soviet Union. So when we're talking peasant that can quote you Lev Tolstoy and Shakespeare, it's not quite the same peasant that people understand, under the meaning of that word here in the West, peasant.
There you go. Was that a good enough answer for you about our American AK is good?
I think that was.
I think we started with the topic:
answer.
Are American AKs good? Or are they crap or whatever? And it's like, and then now we're talking about philosophical education. And,
yes, indeed. And I can tell that people it's getting late and we're getting ready to go. But a couple things again. We want to mention the raffle one more time, which is again studentagain.com/hugyourAK. Donate to at least $10 to get in on the Armor's kit, and then donate at least $20 to get in on the ODS 1775 kit, and 1775, whatever you call it. And also something I want to mention is that the raffle is going beyond the duration of this stream. It doesn't end when we turn this off.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, because we've been saying today. It starts today. But it is going until Halloween, midnight on Halloween, which is when we will officially turn it off, and then we will pick the winner in the next couple of days after that. But, so yeah, you can head over to studentagain.com/hugyourAK to get in on that. Again, raffle goes until Halloween night. So if you can't donate right now, or if you want to pass it off to you want to take some time to pass it off to your friends and coworkers,
and direct blood relatives of the panel. The panel and the direct blood relatives of the panel are not eligible to win.
Oh, yeah, of course not.
Because everybody here already has an ODS 1775, so they don't need
what you're saying, Paul, is that my son's girlfriend is eligible.
She's illegible.
She's possible.
Well, I didn't know that. Oh. Somebody's like, shut your whore mouth. I don't have one of those with... I don't know what to tell you.
Use the word hoe. I use it now. I guess the new generation they say it's 304. Because if you invert 304, it's hoe.
Yeah.
Oh, I was wondering where that. I just heard that for the first time today.
Welcome. I just educated you, old man. That's
wow.
Right.
Yeah, is that something I need? Is that information I needed to have? Marty, did you know that? Marty's scratching his ear with his. Marty's a hip cat. You're.
Yeah, I grew up with calculators, and we did the boobless and all that.
Well, the boobs, yeah, BOOBS 500.
Jesus.
Yeah, 80085 boobs.
There you go.
But anyway,
and we would be remiss if we didn't mention that until October 31st, or if the raffle reaches $20,000. Just throwing that out there.
Well, no, we're going to let it go longer, but we'll hope. We're hoping. Marco just spell out boobs.
Oh wow!
Yeah. He's got a Radio Shack.
Yeah.
So there's a hardware store in town, and on the end of the building they have the Radio Shack sign, right? The official sign. So I went in there all hopeful, thinking, do they really? They just haven't taken the sign off the building.
Okay, Marco drew first blood, so it's my duty to tell all the homeschooling parents that care about their children. You see that RPN at the top?
Yeah.
That stands for reverse Polish notation. I shit you not. And it is by far the superior way to run a calculator. And it is literally a different operating system, the form of almost all the well, this is a big deal. You have to punch fewer keys and it makes way more sense. And so you empowered parents out there who want to help your kids do math the way that engineers and physicists don't use normal people calculators. The millennials and Zoomers might, but us older folks, RPN is where it's at, and it will reduce your error rate remarkably. So,
bro, I got an iPhone with a calculator.
You can actually get an iPhone app. I've got an app that's RPN on my phone as well. And,
yeah, but if you download that app onto your phone, you get on there. They put you on a list.
Yeah, there you go. You can get an emulator.
As if any of these people on this podcast are not on every list already. Come on.
They're going to put you on the Room 101 list.
If you're not on a list by now, you ain't living right. That's how it is. Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and put a pin in this thing.
Well,
all right.
Let's throw one more question out there because it's one of those questions that everyone loves to ask. What kind of magazines do you guys prefer for your AK?
Oh, okay. I'll defer to the panel.
Russian plums.
Specifically the AK-74.
Russian plums.
The Russian plum mags for the AK-74.
Bakelite, Bakelite, and Bakelite.
Bakelite. Yeah.
I like the ones I can print stuff on.
Okay, so let me just say on the principle, not who made it, is it Tula, is it Ijevsk, and all that stuff. If your magazine does not have 3 parts that are made from steel, metal, front lip, back lip, and if it's not one unit, not just inserted into a plastic and molded into it, and very important, most people don't pay attention to it, the bottom plate, if it's not metal, this is not a magazine you want to carry. Thank you.
There you go.
Because once you drop the fully loaded magazine with the plastic bottom plate, it will crack, it will break, and I've seen it dozens upon dozens of times in training, and that spring is out and you don't have a functioning weapon. Is it more expensive? Yes. Is it harder to find? Yes, because very few of them have that. No American magazine has that. They will have the steel lips. They will not have a steel bottom plate. The only ones are Bulgarian, Russian, East German. That is it.
There you go. That's a fantastic answer. Bulgarian, Russian, West German. Is the Circle 10 specific to Bulgaria?
Yes, that's the number of the factory.
Okay.
In our very hard to get, I think FPS Murdoch donated them in the 1775 package to Bulgarian new manufacturer Circle. Well, they're new old, I think. Waffle mags that meet Sonny's specifications.
They're new to you. There you go.
Yeah.
Where would you go to enter yourself into that one?
studentofthegun.com/hug your AK.
Hug your AK. There you go.
And there's Marco showing off, flexing.
Showing off. He's flexing again. I think I might want to have one of those. Now, one thing I don't have is I have Bakelite 74s. I don't have any Bakelite 47s.
Those are very expensive now. I've seen them around at 135, 140 a piece.
Yeah, I don't think I need them that badly.
You have to know what the holy grail is, the 40 rounder.
Yeah, those are holy grails.
Unicorns. Well, if we could go to enough swap meets or secondhand shops and get enough phones, get enough desk phones, because the old desk phones are made out of Bakelite, right? Did you guys know, speaking of Bakelite, that there's a whole cottage industry of a jewelry industry made of Bakelite? And what these people do, these people on Etsy, they go around to all these secondhand retail shops and Goodwills and stuff, and they get old desk phones that were made, in the 60s and 70s with Bakelite, and they use that to make jewelry. I had no idea.
Well, I tell you what, true story. When I used to work for a railroad in the railroad industry, so I had to go on the track all the time, and you wear certain things like steel toe boots, and you had to have safety glasses, and you had to have a hard hat. And I was in Omaha, Nebraska, visiting Union Pacific, and they have downtown. They have this huge freaking pawn shop, and I bought 2 things there. No, I'm sorry, I bought 3 things there, 4 things there. Sorry, the pre-banned Chinese AK, and then I was talking to the guy that sold it to me for $450. Said that, hey man, I wish I had some of this magazines. Do you guys have? And he pulls me aside. He says, "Listen, I have 2 Bakelites." And I said, "How? Is are you going to sell them to me?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "How much?" He goes, $20 each. And I said, "All right, I'll meet you up."
All right.
I went picking it up.
Come on.
And then listen to this. And then I look around the shop and I see there's a hard hat, one of those Bakelite freaking hard hats.
Oh.
And I bought that for $5. And I still have it.
That's awesome.
I still have it.
What was the 4th thing?
There was 2 mags, a rifle, and a hard hat.
And a hard hat.
Marty was keeping track. He's going to keep you honest.
Yeah.
Marty was actually waiting to see if there's a 5th thing.
There probably was.
But there wasn't. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you to Brian Keeney of Occam Defense. Thank you to Marco Vorobiev, an author and a walking encyclopedia of all things AK. Do you get any support if people go buy your book?
You're the best, Paul. You probably increased my royalty check by like at least $15.
There you go. I do that, man. We got Marty from Talking Lead. Also, AK Corner once a month. AK Corner. It's everything AK. And if you want to learn to run an AK rifle like a machine, you can pop down into Texas and study with our friend Sonny Pazikas. You can get some AK knowledge, and his website is Sonny Pazikas. Figure it out. Google will autofill it in for you. Don't worry.
How that educate.
But if you do, if you Google him, you are going to get on a list for sure. And lastly, but not leastly, thank you to my co-hosts and my producers and Jared and Zachary, who actually did, while I was out doing my stuff today, they set all of this stuff up. So thank you to my sons. And thank you to every single one of you out here in the audience who have hugged your AK and have told people that you did. And Cat in the Hat, and that be that.
Happy birthday, Zach Hall.
Happy birthday,
Zach Hall. Go to studentofthegun.com/hug your AK.